I am back with another seasonal recipe, and this one is for acorn squash. I'm going to slice it up and roast it and serve it with blood oranges, toasted pistachios, and a turmeric yogurt dressing. Believe it or not, the flavor of citrus works really nicely with acorn squash, and whenever I can get my hands on them, I like to use blood oranges because the color inside is just so stunning, especially alongside the acorn squash that's already orange. If you can't find blood oranges, I would say your next best option is a cara orange, or you can use any orange you can find. And then I'm going to toast up some pistachios and show you how to make this turmeric yogurt dressing. For this, I use a non-dairy yogurt. You can use a non-dairy kefir, a goat milk yogurt or kefir, or if you're okay with dairy, you can use a cow's milk yogurt or kefir. So then I'm going to add in turmeric and a lot of seasonings, and all together it creates wonderful flavor. This is the kind of dish that I can sit down and eat about half of by myself for lunch, or you can serve it as a side dish for dinner alongside a big salad, roast chicken, whatever you want. I'm gonna go get my sharp knife to cut this squash and get cooking.
First, I'm going to make sure that my squash is ready to roast, and I like to cut the stem off so that I have a flat portion to be able to more easily cut the squash in half lengthwise. And then I'm just going to use this spoon to scrape out the seeds and stringy portions and make sure that it's all cleaned up, and slice it up into about 1/2 inch thick pieces. You can see it makes a bit of a half moon shape. And once that's all sliced up, I'm going to pile those on top of a parchment paper lined baking sheet and drizzle them with 3 tablespoons of avocado oil, or you can use melted ghee or even coconut oil. And then 1 teaspoon of flaky sea salt and 1/2 teaspoon of cardamom. I am using my hands to make sure that they're all evenly coated, including the skin. I like to roast these with the skin on because I find that when it's well cooked, it's actually quite delicious and it's really nutritious. And I am spacing these out to make sure that they don't steam each other, but get nice and caramelized. I'm going to roast these at 400 for 40 minutes and flip them over halfway so both sides get well caramelized. While that roasts, I'm going to make my creamy turmeric dressing and start with 1 cup of non-dairy yogurt. I like to use full fat whenever possible because not only does it make the flavor better, but it's also much more digestible. And then I'm squeezing in 3 tablespoons of lemon juice, and I'm going to add in 1 teaspoon of ground turmeric, 1/2 teaspoon of cumin, 1/2 teaspoon of fine sea salt, 3 tablespoons of honey, and then I'm going to crank in about 1/4 teaspoon of freshly ground black pepper. I'm going to whisk that all together and keep this covered and sealed in the refrigerator until it is time to use it. My acorn squash is finished roasting, and I have arranged it on a platter, and I am peeling my blood orange and slicing it somewhat thinly, and I'm going to arrange those over the top of the acorn squash. I've also toasted about 1/4 cup of pistachios, shelled of course, and I'm going to sprinkle those over the top and then drizzle all of it with the creamy turmeric dressing that we just made. I also like to sprinkle a little bit more flaky sea salt over the top of all of this and recommend serving it right away while it's warm.